So our first preschool experience was actually here at Union, and I had Thomas and Jack starting at the same time. I remember so clearly dropping them off and like, remember I said, do you have a tissue box? And getting in the car and just like sitting there in the parking lot. And I called one of my closest girlfriends, and who her son's a couple years older, and she assured me that she felt the same way, and just trust the teachers, trust the program, and that they're going to be fine, and they were, and they are.
It's a very emotional time for sure. It's like all this, you're worried, you're anxious, you're sad, you're happy, you're proud. It's, in my opinion, it's a very emotional day, and it's all sorts of different things going on at the same time. I will say that having met the teachers before and coming to Union and meeting, Jennifer and all the staff, it just felt extremely comforting because it's such a nurturing and sweet environment, and they're almost like moms.
The program here was so supportive, and being able to drop them off and then at any point go into the building and look through the observation window, which I did a couple times, just to assure yourself to see that he's okay and adjusting.
I think for me, with Olivia, when we came back in the first few weeks of her second round of twos, she was actually the one consoling other kids and being like, Mommy's come back, and helping them out. And it was a very full circle moment for me, because it reassured me that this was the right place and that she definitely was growing in different ways.
And my oldest, when she started kindergarten, there was no anxiety. It was just looking ahead, looking forward to it. And while she didn't know anybody in her class that first day, by the end of the first day, she knew 22 children.
I remember taking the pictures in front of the welcome to your new school sign they had put on the front yard.
And I remember her first backpack. She a little dancer that she had a little backpack with little ballet slippers and her name embroidered on the backpack. So I'm afraid we still have it tucked away.
I do too.
Again, I was just wondering what would be different. What would she take with her? And what I just couldn't get over is that it was so seamless. It really was. That the skill set and the social skills that she had built while she was here, and the intellectual curiosity really transferred.
He was just excited for school. He learned how to be excited for school in preschool, and he was still excited for school when he started kindergarten. He just loved going. He loved meeting new people and experiencing it all.
So we're at the car by my son's dorm, and I'm like, don't you want me to come see your dorm one more time? And he's like, nope. And then my husband wouldn't get out of the car to say goodbye, give him a hug or anything. And he just did a fist bump. And I was like, go say goodbye to him. And he's like, fist bump, that's it. And I'm losing it then at that point, because this is the last one we're saying goodbye to. And we get home and we crawl into bed that night. My husband goes, I'm really gonna miss him.
Aww. I was ready to have just this incredible set of emotions, and as I walked away from him in his dorm, I wasn't as emotional. Now, getting in the car and driving away, my son goes to school 6 hours away, so we had a 6-hour drive home. I think I cried 3 of the 6 hours. It was really tough to drive away and leave him so far away, knowing he's on his own. But I knew he was ready, and he couldn't wait for us to leave. So it was perfect. It was totally fine in the end.
I said I didn't lose it when I dropped him at school, but I completely lost it when he went back after the first time coming home, because they come home more mature and they're more appreciative of everything at home, and And then they left. I'm like, oh my God, I love this new kid. And now he's going to leave.
Yeah. Right.
And I remember I cried all the way to the airport after Christmas break.
I don't think there's a time that they come home that I don't cry when he goes back. I don't think that there's ever a time that he leaves my house now that I don't cry. Because you get those small snippets of them and they're back and you have your family back and then they go away again. And it's okay. Once they're gone, it's okay. I mean, we have a new normal, but it's tough while they're, as they're walking out the door.
But when you know they're coming home, that anticipation of, I'm gonna have all my chicks under my roof, even if it's only for a couple of hours, they're all gonna be here again. The first time they came home, and it was only a couple of weeks later, but there was just a different aura about them. Like, my son's a man, my daughter's a woman. Like, they've got this figured out.
I think watching our daughter come down the aisle with my husband, with her dad, was pretty amazing. And you think, oh my goodness, my little girl is all grown up and look at her, she's beautiful. It didn't seem very long ago that she was going to preschool and then grade school. And then, you know, when they're getting married, you realize, okay, you know, that my job of parenting is very different. The roles change a lot.
One thing that's fun about our weddings, and that's that Marilyn and I met here when our children were 2, and we've been lifelong friends, and we were both really involved in each other's weddings. So Lindsay was in Kristen's, and Kristen was in Lindsay's, and so we have been good friends since then. So we were part of their wedding, and they were part of our wedding. So,
and our girls are still good friends. And then our youngest child, Rob, went here for all of his preschool, and he still has friends from this program that he's still good friends with. And our daughter-in-law teaches here, and our 3-year-old grandson, George, is in the 3s, and then we have a little grandson, Jackson, who's in with the babies. So, yeah, we have a long history.
I think one of the fun things for me is being a grandmom. I'm Nana, and I love being a grandma. I didn't know that it would be this great.
You're always a mom, especially when they have children. Then I think you kind of go back to being a mom again.
I think too that once they're moms, or once they're married and they're wives, they start to realize what it was like for us. And I think it's at that point that there's a maturity on their part that kind of grows, and that's where it becomes fun. You're the mom. And then once they've realized what life is like as a mom or a wife, they start appreciating you a little bit more.
Well, the anticipation, I mean, you know, when someone's in labor, you're just waiting. I mean, waiting is the hardest part. So once the baby was born and he was healthy, I mean, I can't even explain. Lauren, out of all my children, probably would have had 4 or 5 kids if she could have. I mean, she always wanted to have a large family. So for this to work out for her has been wonderful. And for us too, believe me, my only regret is they live so far away. I thank God for technology, because with FaceTime, I mean, I can be in the room with them and just watch him play or hang out, and we feel like we're together.
When our girls started here, this was where you went to preschool. I mean, when you moved to Hinsdale. And it's kind of like that now again. I think things ebb and flow over time, but it's a very, very popular and well-regarded school. So I think she just like, well, I went here, so I want him to go here, and that was really it.
When I moved here, neighbors talked about the program, and I remember I was very excited to get Lauren in, and we did the mother-child class first. So I think that as a first-time parent, that was a really nice entree into preschool, because you kind of feel like you're protecting your child, you're going with them, you're taking them to the school. So when she came for school the next year, she was already familiar with the building and routine and everything that went on. So there was no hesitation on my part to send her here.
Whenever they were apprehensive, or if there was an issue or concern that they had, they always knew that this was a place where They knew they belonged, they were familiar with it, and now Harley's doing the same thing. Quinn comes here for Sunday school and he comes to church. His dad brings him to church. Sometimes they all come, but he loves coming to church. And I think it's just really nice that children have a place that they can, walk down the street and see a building and say, oh, that's my church, that's my school. It's just one of those things that is a nice tradition in your family.